Hey, I actually saw the title music this time, so I knew when to start talking. Welcome, everybody, to Have You Seen This?
Well,
uh, that was an interesting time I had last week, and it was the worst person for it to happen to because I always open the show. And if I if I look and see that there's nothing there, I get worried and I'm like, oh God, should I start talking? Do I have to start talking? I am definitely talking too much because I have two different people to ask how they're doing. But first, let's tease a little bit of news. We're going to be talking about definitely multiple different animated shows, as well as some DC announcements, and it's going to be interesting. Rob's also going to talk to us about some zombies, I think. I think they're zombies. I haven't really seen much of the show, so all I saw were people eating people.
oh my
Anyway,
god.
Is that a spoiler that Rob Zombie will be joining us live in studio?
absolutely. In
Dragula,
stu-
baby, Dragula.
the the real question we all need to ask is which one it's going to be,
Oh my god.
because he will be
Oh.
showing up live in studio, but there are three of us here and we're in three different places.
Oh my
Who will
god.
Rob Zombie target first? For his thoughts, we go to Rob. How's it going, Rob?
No one in their right mind goes to Winnipeg in January. I am perfectly safe. Yeah,
Fair.
yeah. Zombies or clickers or whoever could take over the entire Earth. They ain't coming here in the winter. We're perfectly fine and safe. That doesn't mean we're not going to bash each other over the head and bite each other. It just
But
means
that's
we're
just a
not-
Tuesday.
That's right. We're not going to turn into zombies afterwards. So take that.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Speaking of, every Tuesday we're joined by Dave, but this week we're joined live on the show. How's it going,
Live
Dave?
live on the show in person, ready to talk TV news. It's Dave. He's here to talk and only know too much about the dumb stuff nobody cares about.
I wish.
Spoiler alert, we have no news to talk about.
What? You don't want to talk about Weasel?
Yeah, Weasel.
We can talk about Weasel if you guys want,
I
but
don't know what it is.
Weasel's one of the you ignorant sluts.
how dare you? We're gonna get
I have
oh no,
so-
we're past the 3-minute mark. We're good.
I have so many gifts, but I don't have Dwight, you ignorant slut. Oh, I need to add that one.
Isn't that a?
That's the closest I've got.
Oh. Well, I thought that was a Dan Aykroyd thing, calling people an ignorant, Jane, you ignorant slut.
I think it is, but I think the one most people nowadays know from is Michael saying it to Dwight in The Office.
Oh, brother. Hey, I did see, while I was on vacation, I did see a episode of The Office. I'll have you guys know.
Have
Now
you
I've
never
seen
seen The Office before this?
I saw I've seen the British version, and then I saw the pilot, I guess, of the American one, and then I saw this one. Lady gets married, and hijinks ensue.
A lady gets married.
Mhm.
Was it at
Yeah.
Niagara Falls?
Could have been. Okay, I watched it. I didn't pay 100% attention at all, but I did see it, and I knew who some of the people were.
Oh.
Hmm.
I think.
You're like, oh, that's Velma.
Yeah, and the girl from Parks and Rec was on it, and I didn't know that she was on. I didn't know that she was on The Office either. Quincy Jones's kid.
Quincy Jones's kid.
Yeah.
Jesus. What?
Are you talking about? Oh, what's Karen? You talking about the woman that's married to Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec, a show I've never seen?
You are a piece of garbage, and they were never married. They were dating briefly in the first season. But yes,
Oh.
Aubrey Plaza.
No, not Aubrey Plaza. The she plays Karen.
Oh, the other
Rashida
one.
Jones. Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones.
F
There we
both
go.
of you. I remembered an actress's name. Who's the smartest now?
It's probably still
Yeah,
my cats.
Okay. What's going on? How smart your cat? Like,
What
oh,
cats? You've
cat
never had a
potty
cat,
trained
Dave.
himself. Oh, my cat can read 2 books a day. Whatever.
Damn.
It sounds like they're big books.
So
Mostly
we
big.
do have we do have a little bit of news to talk about.
Sure.
Oh my god. I don't like this article for many reasons. One,
Oh boy.
there's
Ooh.
so much superfluous like word count hitting. But also I don't like chapter 1.
What?
Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. You can't call it phases. They're not copying the MCU.
Oh, this is the Warner Brother thing.
Yeah.
The
One,
DC stuff.
I
Gods
think
and
it's dumb
monsters.
that they feel the need to copy it in phase style. And two, I would not even be surprised if there was something even dumber in that Marvel has trademarked the use of the word phase. Wouldn't
Well,
be surprised.
Like, until I think like 2016, DC had the right. They were the only ones allowed to call it being a superhero. Everyone else had to. That's why they call them like enhanced in the first couple phases of Marvel, because they're like you can't say superpowers. That's a Marvel thing, or that's a DC thing.
Oh brother.
Wow.
Whatever.
Thus, mutants.
Yeah.
That's
Jeez.
why the X-Men were first.
Yeah, I thought you couldn't call them mutants either, or is that that eventually was a thing? I don't know.
Well,
Nah,
that was
it's-
eventually a thing for Marvel Studios until they went and just bought the entire studio that makes mutant movies. And speaking of, oh my god, small tangent into movie territory. I just
Damn, this
finally
isn't a
watched New
movie show.
Mutants. I know,
Have
but
you
I
seen this
finally watched
movie?
New Mutants.
Oh, did you?
I
haven't.
literally did not even realize that it finally went on to Disney Plus because they snuck it on there and told nobody about it. But I was waiting until I could watch it for free, and it was every bit as terrible as I hoped it would be. I had a blast. All right, back to DC and back to TV.
Boy.
We can cut that part out, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
this isn't live.
Perfect.
We'll chop it off in post. Don't worry.
Good. Fantastic. What's happening with DC? Who's doing what now?
James Gunn is canceling everything and remaking everything.
Alright.
Yes. In a little bit of sad news that I got over the last couple of weeks, we are seeing the end of Doom Patrol, which I believe was already slated. I don't actually think that's a cancellation. I think they plan to end it. But we are also seeing the cancellation of Titans, which will make me sad if and when they ever give me season 4 to watch.
I saw the first episode for season 4. It was good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we'll see the rest of it, but
I
don't think there's any rush now.
I've never watched Titans, but I am sad that it will be that it's being canceled only because small flex. I have some friends who work on the show. Because they film in Toronto.
First your cat, and now Titans.
I have some friends who work. They do a lot of filming in Toronto for
Guy
that show.
knows Nightwing.
So I don't know that guy. But anyway, I will be sad just because some of my
Nightwing, as in Dick Grayson.
some of my friends will be out of work now, which is sad for me.
I'm sure they'll get it picked up somehow.
I'm sure.
They'll just go work on The Boys. Everybody else in Toronto does too.
I know, right? Anyway,
Okay, as
yeah.
for what we are getting,
a lot
Right.
of great stuff, a lot of weird stuff.
Oh, weird. I like.
the first thing I'm seeing, I've never heard of it, and it sounds like some Guardians of the Galaxy bullshit to me. And of course, 7-episode animated series written by James Gunn, already in production.
All right. What's it called?
Creature Commandos, a team of classic monsters originally
Ooh.
assembled to fight Nazis. This is a modern take on the concept.
Well, They say it's a modern take, but I don't. So I tried to grab the picture, but for whatever reason, I can't add the image to StreamYard. But Rob, there's some guys like there's guys like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, GI Robot.
GI Robot. All right, I am in. This is exactly what I wanted.
Weasel from the Suicide Squad movie. That
okay.
weird.
Oh, okay. Now, yeah. I remember that guy. Sure.
And
Polka Dot Man.
No. And Rick Flag Sr. Is the token human in the group.
I was hoping you would say a werewolf too.
No, well, maybe, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with. Have you seen the image, Rob?
Oh,
I have not.
interesting.
I'm gonna share my screen very quickly. That's what we're looking at. That's these. Look at these guys.
Also,
Weasel.
the
I
only
like the robot.
Yeah, me too.
the very interesting thing about this is they're looking for people who both can voice the characters, because even though it's in production, they don't need voices for several months at the very least. But they're also looking for people who kind of look like the characters. So when they
Just
bring,
in case they do, make it.
if and when they bring them
like
onto
Dave.
screen, they can just keep the voices, much like Marvel is doing with the What If series, as much as they can.
Wow,
Yeah.
a lot of those people. You got some bad voice dubs in there. But yeah, no. For people who want to in-depth breakdown and everything, James Gunn had a 6-minute video today they put out, slating everything out, and that was something he mentioned a few times. Where the goal is for all the animated shows that come out, and for the live action stuff, to cast people and give them the heads up right away that you will both be voicing this character, and if we need you for live action, you better start doing sit-ups.
I'm all for something like this. I love when I have no idea about anything like this. This is him doing Guardians of the Galaxy for DC. A bunch of people I don't know, and it's probably going to be awesome. I love Peacemaker, so yeah, he has my full trust in this. Of course, if the episodes go on to be an hour and a half long each or whatever,
I got to imagine this will be a half an hour show. I know Invincible does hour long episodes, but for animation that's so expensive. I don't know how Amazon. I don't know what deal Amazon has with them to give them so much money.
Bezos is a penny pincher. He doesn't like spending money,
but he'll spend it on hour-long superhero animation for adults only,
and penis-looking rockets.
Yes, but this coming to
Dungeons
HBO.
and Dragons series.
Well,
Yep, sure.
To be fair, that one had already made $10 million before he ever put money into it. 12 million, but
yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited for this show, mostly because I think it's going to be a weird thing that they're doing. I do think it's very strange that this will be the first thing out of the gate for the new DC lineup and stuff. It's all right, we're launching our new universe. First thing, Creature Commandos.
Is that gonna feel like the launch of it to you? I don't know if it would to me, like a cartoon show or whatever.
Well,
it wouldn't feel like the launch of something.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it will feel like the launch. And James Gunn talked about how
soft launch,
how Superman is going to be the actual launch of the proper universe. Right. But at the same time, it's this is the first thing out of the gate. And to me, that it is a little strange that they didn't say fast track Lanterns into production or something that was a little bit more established, as opposed to this, where the most established character in all of this is Weasel, because he was in the opening of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and he's awesome.
Yeah, boy, I believe that's Sean Gunn who plays him.
That would make sense. That makes sense.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we get him back voicing Weasel.
I'm pretty Sean Gunn is going to be a character in every single thing that comes out. He'll
So
be somewhere.
Yeah.
yes. Speaking
Could
of
be Jor-El.
nepotism, we
Jor-El.
got Waller coming in before Superman as well. This one they took. I don't know if Crystal Henry is the writer for the Watchmen movie or the Watchmen television show.
She was the writer for the show.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, they just took two writers from shows that they scrapped, smashed them together, and made them make a new show.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't think they.
But
I don't
I
think
actually like
Watchmen was
this.
just supposed to be that. There was never supposed to be anything more.
yeah, Damon Lindelof, creator of Lost, so shout out, who was
What's
the
that? What show's that?
Lost. He was also the showrunner
never
of
heard
Watchmen. Rob, if you just look right below your box, you see the box art for Lost season 1 right there.
Which way? I see
Just
Buffy.
right below you.
Huh?
Just right
Lost?
below you.
I
Lost.
see.
Lost.
The Good Place.
No, keep.
I like that show.
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
All right, you
I
guys
just
are
thought
jerks. But yeah, I think Watchmen was always supposed to only be a one and done thing.
Yeah, that was it.
They talk, James Gunn, not in the 6-minute video. Also, you're talking about Crystal Henry for the being one of the writers on the Waller show, is also one of the. They're calling them the architects or the brain trust that is like leading this whole new initiative.
Right.
Hey, I'm just reporting what James Gunn's calling it, Rob.
I like it.
Okay.
I was like, ooh, we're the arc.
I wanted a little bit of audible clickbait there, but mostly I kind of like this idea. It seems very comic book to me, where like, and some writers will like swap off illustrators as they move to different projects, but others will stay together, and like it's always kind of like everything is made in this like 2-person team, and when you assemble a good one, the producers want to keep you around, so they just keep moving you to different projects and different properties.
Coming in the second phase. The second phase called Deities and Ghouls. The Architects. And now they've made themselves super.
Gods and Monsters is a very famous thing in DC Comics. Okay? But back to...
I have no problem with the name Gods and Monsters. I just have a problem with chapters.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of giving Amanda Waller and the fact her own show, and the fact that Viola Davis is going to stick around. I really do like. I like
your kid from Peacemaker going to be on it, or is it too early to say?
Probably too early to say, but I wouldn't be surprised since James Gunn said that Waller is supposed to bridge the gap between Peacemaker Season 1 and Peacemaker Season 2, similar to the way that Book of Boba Fett bridged Season 2 and Season 3 of Mando.
So the best episodes are going to be when Peacemaker shows up.
For sure. But like... just James Gunn even called out, like, the whole reason Waller exists to bridge this gap is because he's too busy doing every other thing in DC right now to do Peacemaker.
Unbelievable.
Seems fair. Seems
Yeah.
fair.
It's like, oh, you're trying to craft a universe, but where are my dick jokes? Where's my eagle hugging John Cena?
Mm-hmm. It's the best.
All right, next up we got some sort of Superman movie. Cool. All right, skip that.
Yeah. Movie.
Lanterns next.
Lanterns. It's True Detective, but they're space cops with lantern rings. That's
great.
That's what they're calling it.
I really like that. Also, I like the idea of Green Lanterns not just focusing on one character. I like that they called out it's going to be John and Hal and maybe some other ones. And I would love if they kind of do a reverse thing, almost a Lethal Weapon thing where John Stewart's the original Green Lantern and he's getting too old for this shit. Get Denzel in there as there's no way we could get Denzel. I have no connection to this, but like there's no way they could.
No. Guess who's the secret architect?
Oh, I am Tom King.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I know guys that work on Titans. Yeah, fired them.
I live in Ontario.
I fired them. And now I'm a Green Lantern. That's why it's all green. Now it's all tied together. You were trying to give us hints for weeks.
Speaking of, they're not gonna film this one in Ontario because this
God.
show is one of the most important ones they have in development. Apparently, because this one is actually gonna connect to the main story.
Yeah, they said part of this new initiative is making sure, taking more of a Star Wars approach to the universe as opposed to Marvel, where everything does really connect in like the Andor show very much ties into Rogue One and stuff like that. Where Lanterns, they said, a big mystery will be discovered in Lanterns that'll be important to the rest of the movies.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I like that. And I hope, for the love of God, they either give me the main bad guy in there is either Atrocitus and his space kitty Dexstar, which is the namesake of my cat, or we get Chip, the Green Lantern, who's also a squirrel.
I'm down.
Chip. I've wanted Chip forever.
I just need more than one other Lantern Corps.
And make it red, you know? Not just yellow.
Yes, red would be so... Red is awesome because you can give red lantern rings to good guys, and that makes shit interesting. You can't do that with the yellow ring.
They're introduced... Yes, Rob.
Nerds. Okay.
Which does which do?
The brown lanterns, they just smell bad, right?
Yes.
They make people shit themselves too, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty rude. Come on.
Very rude. Oh, it'd be so cool if they got a Red Lantern ring, because like Supergirl was a Red Lantern for a while.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
They just
so
hand
cool.
those rings out willy-nilly?
No, it's just anybody who can get really mad.
No, literally, they don't hand them out willy-nilly, and they made a huge mistake, and so they literally just take her and drop her off at Superman. Like, the Red Lantern Corps does this, and they're just like, we can't deal with this freaking Kryptonian. You take her.
Dan, I don't want to be the actually guy, but it's the reverse of that, where Superman drops her off at the Red Lanterns. It's like, deal with her. I can't deal with my cousin anymore. A Kryptonian with this power? That's too much.
What did they do? Fools, but also it's great.
So the red.
In my defense, I read it a million years ago.
Yeah.
I know Sinestro.
That's yellow.
Yellow one. And what's the yellow one do? Is it
Fear.
Jealous? Oh, fear.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, like a yellow belly, like a bunch of cowards.
But the opposite.
Oh. Also, he was a Green Lantern, right? Sinestro originally?
Yep. And then
wouldn't you be a little suspicious? It's like, oh, this is our new recruiting guys. He's gonna be such a good guy. Let's hopefully he'll lead us one day. His name Sinestro.
That's like that name's like Kyle on his home planet. It's very common.
Oh, that's
Every other guy's name's Sinestro. Can't throw a stick without hitting a Sinestro.
That's what he told you. The only person from his planet you've ever met.
Guys, meet my adorable little brother, Murderden.
Hey man,
don't worry about it. He's fine.
You see those Maleficent movies? Everyone trusts a woman whose name is Maleficent.
This is my cousin,
I would have said right away, wait a minute. That name does not mean what you guys think it means. It means not great.
But I do like, just to bring it back to the actual show, I do like that James Gunn is straight up calling this, like, this is going to be a prestige television show. Ooh. This is something we are going to, True Detective style, we are going to, obviously, we're going to be throwing money at this.
They
I like
want to win awards for this? They want to win awards?
And at the very least, one of these lanterns will be in their Justice League. And that is interesting to, like...
They're gonna do it again.
To come out of the gate with Green Lantern is both strong and worrying.
Yeah. Well, it's one they haven't done yet.
What?
It's one they haven't done yet, right?
Yeah. And...
That Ryan Reynolds one is just pushed under the rug. Like, no,
we don't talk about.
Do not pay attention to this, guys.
You know, Taika
Again,
Waititi was in that movie.
Hmm.
everyone knows that movie exists, and so just the thought of Green Lantern makes people worried. But if they can pull it off, and I don't, I mean, I don't assume that he's going to be writing that as well as doing a million other things, but if Gunn is at the very least like helping produce that show, it will be awesome.
Yes, Rob.
Yes.
Blue Lanterns. Okay, is their power sadness?
It's Hope.
Which
What?
blue?
Well, no, there's only one blue. There's a violet, but there's only one blue.
A violet? Do they just do like the rainbow colors? Is there like 7, or do they call it
And yeah,
indigo?
the Blue Lantern is the one that Barry Allen wields in the
What is
episode where they all
happening?
have to wield lanterns. to
In
stop the-
Darkest Night, yes.
Yeah.
No, there's a point, Rob, where everyone who was ever dead in the DC universe gets brought back as Black Lanterns, and that power is death. And then to restore their humanity, they gotta
They need to make a White Lantern equivalent, which requires all 6 of the spectrum combining together, which they kind of do in the Arrowverse. They just call them paragons instead of lanterns because they didn't have lanterns in the universe.
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. So, Rob, it's read a book, for God's sake.
Comic book. They're like 12 pages.
Filled with colorful pictures.
Hey, man.
That's like your cat does.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Ooh, this sounds like some Game of Thrones shit. I mean, because they describe it as a Game of Thrones style drama. Set in Themyscira.
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Lost. Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. But it is described as Game of Thrones style, but on Themyscira.
Don't eat the apples.
Which I'd be curious if that means it's going to be an exclusively female cast.
Yeah,
Except for
it's
maybe like the
interesting.
what are the gods or whatever that keep trying to fight them all the time?
Yeah, I guess, but you'd have you'd have to do the thing where I can't imagine that this is going to be a contemporary piece. You got to imagine the series finale is Wonder Woman's birth.
I have a question.
Yes, Daniel.
Okay, Daniel, I'll try and answer it.
Okay.
As best I can.
Where are the other gods?
Hanging out.
What do you mean?
Next question.
Where are the other
Well-
gods?
The Roman ones?
Wait, no. They're the Greek
over in
ones,
Rome.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't understand the
You're
question.
saying, like the other ones. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like,
and so
you mean, like,
there's
Zeus.
well, there's which one is she descended from? And then there's
Zeus.
Ares.
Zeus and Ares.
And
Yeah,
then-
they're all the Greek
Ares
gods.
is his brother, right?
Yeah, but
Son.
where are the other people hanging out?
What you mean, like the Egyptian gods and the Norse gods and stuff?
They're over
No,
in Mount
I meant the
Olympus.
other Greek gods.
Mount Olympus.
like-
They're
Everyone
on
knows that.
Mount Olympus, which is a
Okay.
real place in the DC universe.
and-
But it's
and
also maybe
Ares-
a spaceship.
Ares
What?
just attacks Themyscira for fun?
Yeah.
It's honestly the Wonder Woman pantheon has never been something I'm very familiar with, so I couldn't
Are there-
tell you.
Are there Themyscirans that worship the other gods?
There
Is that
are.
what we're getting into? Is there
Oh.
an island that is split up depending on which gods these?
I don't think so, but that would be interesting if it's less of houses and more of a holy war.
Temple?
Yeah.
I think that actually would be very interesting. It
And
also
then it
is
could just be like how Diana's sect becomes like the ruling class.
how they
Essentially.
this is like the 5-minute intro that you get in the history of Wakanda in the original Black Panther,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
for
a
how
whole show.
Diana's. Yeah, I think that could be honestly. I think it could be really interesting, especially with House of the Dragon. You got to imagine that this and House of the Dragon will probably run it'll be House of the Dragon, then this, then House of the Dragon, then this.
Yeah, 'cause what
We'll
are
have
they?
to find
What
a
are
third
they?
show because those shows can only be made every like 18 months.
Yeah, exactly.
When
Well,
are they
then we have
aiming
Last of
to put
Us.
these out? When
All
are they
right,
aiming to put these
perfect.
ones out? Like the first two are coming out. Like they're doing 2 a year or something like that. Two
What
movies, 2 TV shows.
I
So they say.
believe 2025 is when they're looking to start all this, which I know sounds like a crazy far away. That's only 2 years.
How dare you?
I believe that Creature Commandos is 2024, and then I think everything else is 2025.
Okay, so we're not getting a Peacemaker until at least the end of
2027,
2025,
probably.
2026. Ugh. All right, fine.
I'm so sorry to tell you that, but yeah, I'm excited. I think that it could be fun. Themyscira show.
Yeah.
Okay, remind me to come back to this after the show when we can talk about movies again, because I have some interesting things to say about Batman. Booster Gold.
Booster
Ooh.
Gold.
There's a Booster Gold HBO Max series coming out. Wow.
Nice.
My brother will be so excited.
I'm
He's a
very
huge
excited.
Booster Gold fan.
Spoilers for.
Is that the one that Nathan Fillion finally gets?
He's definitely aged out of Booster Gold.
Yeah.
I was,
He would have been perfect for it, though.
yeah, about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when he started Castle.
RIP Legends of
He would've got
Tomorrow,
Firefly.
where, they just introduced Booster Gold.
Yeah.
And now, it's ending, but we're going to finally get the Booster Gold movie in, there's no official dates on anything yet, which is,
I thought it was a TV show.
Oh, sorry. HBO series, yeah. And it is interesting that this year, allegedly, we're supposed to get a Blue Beetle movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the kid from Cobra Kai is going to be Blue Beetle. It's gonna be
Yeah, and I don't know if he will still be Blue Beetle after, because that's something that was already in production before James Gunn came in and shook everything up. I know they're keeping some people, not keeping some people, but if it does well, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the Blue Beetle from the movies showing up in this Booster Gold show. I know it's not Ted Kord, so it's not exactly who it should be, but they're so important to each other.
I had no idea. How about that? It'll be fine for me,
Yeah.
which is what's important.
I
This
would
is
love...
actually
Sorry.
an interesting thing that I want to talk about, even though again it's a frickin' movie. Okay. Final thoughts on Booster Gold though. Like, I don't know a bunch about him except what this blurb gave me, which is that he just kind of shows up from the future and uses future tech to outwit people because they're from the Stone Age to him.
So he is a guy from the future who specifically... So the modern times that we live in now is called the Age of Heroes in the future, because that's when all the heroes were running around and stuff. And Booster Gold specifically comes back because he's like, I want to be famous. I want to be the greatest superhero. I want my name in legends written about that. That's why he has a little robot camera that always follows him around named Skeets. That's recording stuff. He'll often sell parts of his suit for brand sponsorship. So there was a while where he had an Oreo logo. Kind of it's not gonna bring up the best things, but kind of like what Human Torch was doing in the second Fantastic Four movie.
Right.
If you want to see a really good adaptation of Booster Gold, there's a great episode of Smallville where he shows up. But yeah, he's totally a total fame whore. He's just constantly mocking people, and it's not that he is outsmarting people. He is often the one who is outsmarted, despite being from the future and having all the information.
Okay.
Sounds like a show for
And
me.
I clued in that he's like the dumb Wells from the Flash show.
That's a great point. He is kind of like HR.
Yes, HR.
Yeah, very much like that, where he should have all the information, and also because he's from the future and time travels often, he often will screw stuff up. Like there was a point where for Batman and Catwoman's wedding, he's like, what would be the best wedding gift I could get them? Bruce Wayne's parents not being murdered. And then he went back and like it was a terrible, like just came back to modern day where like everything was terrible and it was the worst. And then Batman had to go back in time and kill his own parents. So like that's the kind of shenanigans that Booster Gold forces on everyone else in the world, in the DC universe.
I like it. Chaos.
He's a very
Yeah.
chaotic character.
Then we close out. We close out their chapter 1 with a Supergirl movie and a Swamp Thing movie, which that interests me because they're ending their first chapter. I mean, this isn't set in stone, right?
Well,
but on
this
like such like a new character, that's cool too.
this also, yeah, they're making a Swamp Thing movie. Well, he's not new at all.
I mean,
but-
live action,
Two movies,
like
two movies and a television show.
Yeah, this isn't their full like chapter 1. This is just the stuff that they are confident about announcing.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love if they didn't. Did you guys see the Swamp Thing television show?
Yes, you're talking about the James Wan one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way better than people gave it credit for, I thought.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
But it cost like $70 million an episode or something.
It cost a lot. That first movie, that Swamp Thing movie, directed by good old Wes Craven.
Oh, that's right. It was.
Yeah. The second one, not great.
No.
No. I forget what it was about. I know Heather Locklear was in it for some. I think it's the only movie she was ever in.
that seems to be all we got for DC. So
Well,
we got
good luck to them.
yeah, a
Good
weird
luck.
animated series about a bunch of characters nobody's ever heard of. Buddy
heard of
cop,
Frankenstein.
True Detective style, Green Lantern show. Yes,
Who's never heard of
we
G.I.
got
Robot?
Booster Gold, and also we got the prequel to the DCU and the sequel to Peacemaker.
If
Amanda Waller.
just before we move on to whatever we're going to talk about next, if you could, which of the shows that we just talked about are you the most excited for? Or most interested in seeing? Not even excited, but which one would you want to see the most?
Now?
Yeah. If I said, Rob, all 10 episodes, here you go, of any of these things, it's completely done.
Booster Gold.
What about you, Dan?
Lanterns all the way.
Give me Creature Commandos. You guys are sleeping on GI Robot.
I was very close to saying that too, except I was just kept going in my head. Chaos. At least when it's saying that in my head, at least I have a way to talk to somebody about it. Usually it just happens late at night when I'm all by myself.
You should see a doctor.
I'm not allowed to anymore.
Not allowed to see doctors.
No.
Okay, you should see a witch doctor.
Oh,
Oh boy.
we call them shamans. Come on,
A little bit of cultural appropriation there.
Jesus Christ.
Which
Got
one?
I don't know.
Ottawa.
So, moving on to what are
Why
we
did-
watching? Oh my god. We need a bumper for what are we watching?
I was watching the picture of the show. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
There you
but
go,
like,
Dan.
we need like we got our big spoiler thing. We got it's
We're
okay.
very
We'll-
busy watching shows.
We got Cookie.
Yes. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. We'll
I
figure
got
it
to
out.
see some shows. Okay, let's start off with more cartoon talk with Daniel. Let's go
All
to
right.
Cartoon Corner. with Daniel.
Cartoon Corner! It's the only cartoon I have.
I know, and that's SpongeBob's face when I tell him I liked Fairly Odd Parents better. You're already
Boo.
booing me.
Boo, Daniel. Boo.
Yeah,
And yeah,
let's get him.
so animated shows. I watched the first 6 episodes of Legend of Vox Machina, season 2.
2.
Yes.
Second season.
I waited a couple of days, and here's a fun trick for all of the audience. So Dave's mom 17 different times.
Thanks, Dave's mom.
So
Thanks, Tristan.
yeah, she'll only be
And
able to
Kat.
sign up to one of these trials, but if you sign up for a trial now or even just a few days after the first episode, you guarantee the whole season within your free Prime trial. So that's what I did. And I'm going to, well, probably actually keep the subscription because there's a bunch of interesting things on Prime. Going to be watching some Rings of Power later this week. I'm interested.
Mhm.
And
Too many people badmouthed that show, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, we had a great time watching that show.
I think I'm
many
gonna like it.
writers. Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, Vox Machina season 2. Dragons Be Here.
What? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Are you telling me
I-
Amazon has a series of dragons? I won't buy it.
Yeah. Bunch of
I
dragons.
don't buy it.
Turns out animated dragons are a shit ton cheaper than CGI dragons.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes.
Yes.
CGI, those are animated as well, right?
Well,
they're
yes, but
using real dragons.
No, they're not used.
it's different.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, I do think they are CGI models. I don't think they're not hand drawing the dragons.
Ooh.
I'm actually entirely unsure how they animate Critical Role, but
Well, yeah.
They seem to do it pretty quick.
yeah, it's I know who does it.
Some guy.
It's just one guy.
Yeah, it's
This
one guy. Same guy who does Big Mouth. He works a lot.
Fast. Does them fast.
But no, it's been really fun. I didn't realize they are planning as many seasons as they are. I'm kind of worried and less worried since Dave announced some news earlier that they signed this like 6-year deal or some crazy ass shit with Amazon. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be making a lot of things, but I was
Yeah.
worried they weren't running the story quick enough.
Well, yeah, they're doing. So for this current arc, they've said it's going to be season 2 and 3, and then there are thoughts that like the, not the Vecna, yeah, the Vecna arc is going to be
Vecna.
season 4 and 5. Not Vecna. What am I thinking of?
Yeah.
Stranger
Yes,
Things.
you are.
Stranger Things. Is
Yes, because that's it. Like, they have so many things still to do. Like, there's the whole Ripley thing, and Ripley is both tangential and not tangential to
And
the
super
Vecna
important.
thing. And super important, yes. And like,
Not Ellen
and
Ripley.
then
Rob.
halfway through season 2, and they haven't even dealt with the friggin' sword yet. Black Razor?
They just started dealing with that.
Yes.
And I feel like
They-
that'll be dealt with in the next couple
I mean,
episodes.
I'm saying they're teasing it throughout all 6 episodes. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so like they're really milking this season, and not that I mind. I'll take 5 seasons of this show if that's what they plan to do.
But they've been doing this show, you said, for 45 years or something like that, right? Something like that?
Yeah.
How long have you been
about
doing this
that.
for?
Like 2000 something? 14?
Yeah, 14, 15, something. Back
Something
when, yeah, back
And
when
they've
they
done
literally
12
weren't even on their
episodes?
own channel.
18 episodes or something like that of television to back up 9 years worth of shit. So, yeah,
Well,
they could take their
well, the first campaign was only 115 3 to 4 hour episodes, so. I
I
wanted to
agree
watch
with you,
Rob's
Rob.
face as
It's
I said
way
that.
too much.
it is way too much. And like nowadays, I listen to. I listen to enough D&D shows to have listened to all of Critical Role, but it also is more than One Piece at this point, and that is incredible to say.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this season as well. Rob, does this move the needle for you? One of the dragons, voiced by Lance Reddick.
Nope.
Okay.
Is there a guy still singing his way through the show?
Yes, it was a very
Yes.
couple. Had a song about shitting in the last couple episodes, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
He did have a
make
song
fun of me
about
when I have
shitting.
songs
And
about shitting.
then a very emotional show.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
found a
then,
gift.
and then he made a Sphinx cry.
He made a Sphinx cry. He wounded him emotionally. But yeah, I also am very excited for the deal that Critical Role and Amazon Prime have signed, where they will be running, where they have a first look deal for all of their shows on to go to Amazon Prime immediately, both in terms of film and television. I think this really opens up the potential to get some interesting movies that feature in some of the one shots, like me and Dan were talking about. If they did like a Calamity movie later. And even bigger news is that the Mighty Nine, their second campaign, is getting its own series, which a lot of people were scared it wouldn't. And as someone who came in campaign 2, that's something I was always more excited about. I think those characters are just a lot more fun in my opinion.
I
No poop songs.
love the season 2 characters.
No poop
Like,
songs, Rob.
Weird.
No poop songs.
Strange.
Not even a bard. There's no bard in season 2.
No. They replaced singing with dad jokes.
Oh.
And swords.
Yeah.
So many more people with swords. And one person with a lollipop.
And no
But-
people with guns.
And yes, Jester is about the... Well, Non gets a gun at one point.
Oh,
Spoiler.
yeah. Shoots Bo in the ass.
But yeah,
But-
the season 2 characters, like, they weren't... They were much more experienced because they had been doing the show for so long. They got to start right at the beginning at level 1 rather than jumping in midway and also changing the system and the game that they were playing in the meantime.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think
And-
it's just they're also just more interesting characters because most of them don't fall in the typical fantasy archetypes. Like, I think there's a lot more creativity in the second series of Cast, but I think we're still probably years away. I would imagine that they wrap up. Well, actually, Dan, that's something I'll ask you. Do you think they'll wrap up Vox Machina before they start Mighty Nine, or do you think they'll have like a winter and a summer programming?
It's interesting. I think your best bet in those cases is if you, and it might not be a bad thing either, to have a different animation team for
This
each
is
show.
exactly what I was gonna say. If they keep things that they look completely different, you would never be able to tell. Like Simpsons and Futurama, you can tell it's done by the same people.
Yeah.
But if you do
These-
these
Yeah.
two things where you have totally different styles, then yeah.
The issue is they do like literally take place on the same world in the same world. Like it's
But, like-
different, but when
They-
we go to
they could
King's
meet up- they
Landing,
could meet
it
up
looks
at
like
some point.
King's Landing, whether it's House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones 300 years later.
I think as an experienced Star Wars animation person, I think I can take
Right.
this.
Yep.
That's all done by the same teams, but like the art styles from show to show, there's a lot of similar DNA, but the Rebels art style, and this is a reason a lot of people had troubles jumping into Rebels, even though I think it's a really great show, is it had a very different look to it than Star Wars Clone Wars did, or now the Bad Batch has. Yes, Rob?
Does Rebels have Rebels becoming the Taliban?
They do not have... They do not have series of episodes where Obi-Wan and Anakin train people to be the Taliban. No, they do not have that.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know they learned their lesson.
But Rob, big Star Trek, there are space whales, just like in Star Trek. Yeah.
I thought there was a real whale, just an Earth whale.
Yeah, just an Earth whale. Well, that happens. There's Earth snakes in one of the movies.
Oh my god.
But I think something like that, where as long as they look similar enough, but a variation, like don't go to like a cell shaded animation or anything. Keep that like comic booky, kind of Invincible style look to it. But just change up like the lighting, the color palette, the whatever.
Like basically, if they got the team that is doing Invincible to do it.
Well, they're busy doing Invincible.
Yes, and we're apparently going to get it by the end of 2023, maybe.
There's no chance. There is no chance that's coming out until, I would say, next February.
Right? But,
Is Invincible
let's keep
produced by
hoping.
Seth Rogen as well?
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff for him.
He's also working on the Invincible live-action movie.
Right, I knew that was coming.
And yeah, so my biggest issue, I think, is that, like, animation just takes time to do. And so I'm not sure if the team would be able to, the team they currently have. And I'm not sure if they could just double it overnight either. So
No, I don't think so.
I could see
like-
an on-off thing where maybe they do get to the end of season 3, finish the Chroma Conclave arc, and then take a pause, jump into Mighty Nine. But it is also, again, same place but 20 years later, so it's a bit iffy.
Yeah, also, I guess...
From classic animation, where you use the same backgrounds and stuff like that, you just color them in a little bit different.
Yeah.
Although, if this is season 2 and they just signed on for 6 years...
Well, I don't know. It was several years. I don't know if it was 6 years, unless you have that number in front of you.
I don't specifically, but I thought I saw it earlier. But, 5-6 years, like a general sort of... Again, if it's anything less than 3, they're gone by the end of Vox Machina. Because they're planning 5.
Yeah.
It seems, anyway, from what you've mentioned and from what I've been thinking about watching it.
So Amazon is prepared to poop out all these different shows for these guys no matter what, or they're prepared to look at them first?
They have a deal where... So they will be producing Mighty Nine, and they've announced that they're going to continue to do the Vox Machina show. And they just announced that a Mighty Nine show is coming, which is why I think we'll end up getting, probably, Dan, you're right, at the end of the Chroma Conclave, it'll be like, and now Mighty Nine. But then going forward, if the production company behind Critical Role wanted to make a show, they have to go to Amazon first. If they want to make a movie, they have to go to Amazon first.
But the bonus there is Amazon is probably chipping in a lot of the $12 million it takes to make each of these seasons.
Yeah, and then if they ever wanted to make a movie or anything, live action or animated, like going to Amazon first, you're going to get that Amazon money before going anywhere else.
Amazon cage.
Yeah. But yeah. That's Mighty Nine. That's Vox Machina. A really great show. Also Rob. Really good.
Yeah. Well,
Not your thing, I know, but
we'll see. I'll probably be more interested in the other show, the Mighty Nine, than I was in the Vox Machina. I did watch a bunch of those Vox Machinas.
yeah, you watched the first 3, I think, right?
I believe so. There's those 2 vampire guys show up.
That's
Yeah.
in the 3rd episode, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because the first 2 are pre-campaign, and the 3rd is the introduction.
All right. We want to talk more cartoons?
All right, I could talk about one more cartoon.
We can talk a cartoon that isn't getting people pissed off at all for no reason.
No, there's no
No,
controversy behind this next cartoon at all.
no, everybody loves this cartoon.
Oh, Velma, Velma, Velma. Uh, I don't hate the show. I do not. I think it's fine. I have a question. Who's the show for? The show seems like
I
an
mean,
inside joke or something like that to me. Like something that these guys were thinking. Like, remember when we were kids watching Scooby Doo? Well, what? So I think it only really interested those people and stuff like that were making the show. Because I don't see why anybody who's never seen a Scooby Doo show. Say there's people that have never seen Scooby Doo. What would make you want to just turn on to watch Velma? Nothing. It's not
yeah,
interesting enough just to pick it up. If the people that are upset with Shaggy calling himself just normal, so I have no problem with any of the characters. It's all fine. I just don't understand why they thought that this would be interesting now. And there's no Scooby Doo.
Wait, what?
There's none. Not yet.
there's
Listen,
no
I
Scooby.
came to
Well,
see a talking dog. All right, and his little shithead friend that everybody hates. Scrappy.
yes. Spoiler: there's no talking dog,
Yeah, there's no
but
talking dog. There's
there's
ghosts.
technically a Scooby
There's
around.
ghosts inside her head and stuff like that. Those are always fun. Yeah, there's good moments. There's funny moments. There's fun moments. There's
Yeah, I
good voice actors and stuff like that. Daphne's moms. They're great. Wanda Sykes and Jane Lynch.
Oh my
Great.
god.
Dean Pelton, like Dean's in the show. The Dean from Community's in the show. He's the mayor. Like all these people you hear. Stephen Root's in there. It's just star after star after star. So it's like there's nothing wrong with the voice talent. Maybe you can get. I don't know. I don't know what people have against the show other than it doesn't need to exist. That's about it. The show's fine. It's just whatever. It's a different take on characters. Who cares?
Wow, Wanda
What?
Sykes really getting around in animation. She's also been in a few episodes of The Bad Batch this season.
Really?
Yeah.
interesting.
I guess she's getting to that age where she doesn't want to like do real acting. She can just
Oh my
go
god.
do some voices.
Yeah.
My favorite role of hers will always forever be in Pootie Tang.
Mm.
As for my thoughts, I've kind of enjoyed it as well. I have not like gotten through an episode without like actually laughing out loud at something.
There's always
And
something funny.
It's a very dumb show. It's a very like sarcastic show, but
Oh yeah.
like it might be a show made for me because I am just appreciating that a show like that exists.
Okay. Great.
It's just kind of different in the way that again, a lot of the jokes are very like obvious when you think about them for a little bit, but they work and they are telling a story. And much like one of my biggest problems with things is when like your universe's rules stop working for whatever reason.
Right.
And even when all of the rules of the universe are dumb, as long as you abide by those rules, I am fine with it. And I don't like when shows stop using their rules for convenience. See Game of Thrones. And yeah, like I just like it for what it is, which is a bunch of cheap laughs, and I get those every time I watch an episode.
Couple questions I have with the show. Hey,
Mhm.
I grew up with Scooby Doo, Where Are You, and stuff like that, and the theme song and all those things. Were you growing up because you had like, let's be fair, a million other choices of television, of cartoons and stuff to watch. I had very few. I had what's on one of the 3 channels or whatever I had when I was a kid, and one of them being Scooby Doo. So I have that a connection to when I was very little. Like, do you have that same kind of connection? Is maybe that movie? Is that where Scooby Doo started for you? I have a hard time relating because I'm only 22 years old.
Yes, I am trying to honestly look it up to see if I can somehow
While you're doing that, here's
make
another
my
thing.
brain remember things, but
I
I
was a Scooby Doo kid. I liked
Yeah,
Scooby Doo growing up. We had a couple animated shows that back in the day, but it was never something I would really love. I was really in love with, and I have not watched Velma at all. That's why I've been so quiet
sure.
during this
Well,
time.
you're learning. Soak it in. You're
I'm
learning,
soaking it all in. But I think Scooby Doo
which
is
is the
one of
most
those
important.
things that when you, Rob, said there are some people who have never seen Scooby Doo, I would say I think every generation has a Scooby Doo,
They have a version of it
has a
now,
version
right?
of Scooby Doo. So I think that I would be hard pressed to find someone who has no frame of reference for Scooby Doo.
okay, this is an article written in November of 2021.
Don't
So
remember.
over a year ago, and Velma may not be included on this list.
Mhm.
Here's a quote from it. There have been 13 Scooby-Doo television shows and countless movies.
I feel like we could
Countless.
probably count them.
Yeah,
I'm sure they
it
could,
must
but
not be a problem. I could think of two right off the top of my head. Both of them had Buffy in it. So okay, yeah, because I remember like Scooby when I was a kid, and those meddling teens and stuff like that, and I like the little shout out to those kind of things they have in the cartoon show. They also have a thing where they're going to a mine in the cartoon show, Dave, where the guy talking about it is Casey Kasem. Of course, Casey Kasem, famously the voice of Shaggy back at Scooby Doo. Where are you? Uh, but I also remember like when I was a kid, I'd get excited because every once in a while Scooby Doo would meet up with like the Harlem Globetrotters or like the Adams family and Scooby Doo would get together. So those are always the super fun
The
ones to
Adams
me.
Family was getting together with Scooby Doo.
How dare you?
holy crap.
Yeah.
I knew they
I
messed with Batman, but I didn't know the Adams Family
Oh,
and them were hanging out.
Batman. I'm pretty sure
Dave,
my mind may play tricks, but I'm pretty sure I remember the Adams family and Scooby Doo on an adventure.
On an
I have
adventure.
definitely taken shit for being in the generation that added Scrappy Doo, yet here is evidence of him being in the 1980 version of a Scooby-Doo television series, and
I know it.
I'm
Yeah,
Like no, I was saying like I remember Scrappy Doo when I was a little kid. I remember he was the puppy power shit. I remember that stuff. I remember it was fucking terrible. Even when I was a kid, thinking, "What the hell is this?"
yeah,
Especially when he had
Scrappy Doo has
gold with Scooby
always
Doo. Where are
sucked.
you? How dare you? Scooby Doo, where are you? Is great. Uh, it always led to great parodies. That Corn's Halloween Adventure episode of South Park when they parodied Scooby Doo was fantastic. Uh, yeah, maybe I think this show would be better if it was a Mystery of the Week style show. Maybe if they get through this one or whatever they do, I don't know if it's ever going to get renewed for a second season with all the people whining. But if they could get through this one, maybe they could do more Mystery of the Week stuff. I'm more interested in that than a 10 episode arc to find out something that you could have figured out in an episode or two.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it
seem difficult here, guys.
I wish more TV shows were not afraid to be TV shows.
Right.
To like that was something I really loved about the Sandman, where like with the exception of a couple episodes, pretty much every episode was just like a self-contained thing, and it was on, it was leading to a character arc, and you could track it all the way from episode 1 to episode 10 or whatever. But like it was not afraid to be a TV show, where now we only get like 13-hour movies.
Right. Yeah. There's enough shows doing that. There's nowhere near enough shows that are just doing episode crime of the week, mystery of the week kind of stuff. That's interesting. And I'm not talking fucking NCIS or any of those baloney things that my wife loves. I'm talking about like just regular old mystery of the week. Like I told you, I was starting to watch Poker Face. Poker Face is done by Ryan Johnson, and it's promising just to be mystery of the week style stuff, even though it comes out whatever. And they're about an hour long. But like the look and the feel of it, just from that first episode, like it looks and feels like Jackie Brown, but set in modern times.
Mm.
And it has people, Adrian Brody and Benjamin Bratt were the bad guys in the first episode. So there's lots of people you'll know.
Benjamin Bratt, one of the best names in Hollywood.
He's been around forever. This guy constantly works.
Yeah.
He's great.
And
His Law and Order run was great.
As I'm going through here, I found a list of a bunch of Scooby-Doo shows, and they're apparently ranked. And the best
Where are
one,
you? Number one.
the best one on the list is Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? The original.
That can't be true.
Like showing
But-
the flashlight and stuff like that. Oh no, it's a ghost. Yep.
But
Pirate
it
ship,
is.
ghosts.
I do know this one as well. Like I've definitely watched this, whichever show, whatever network I used to watch television on. Obviously syndicated the old episodes because they
Yeah.
needed something to run all day. But the show Dave and I would be most familiar with, I would assume, would be 2002's and the fourth best Scooby-Doo series according to this list. What's New Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
With the Simple Plan theme song.
That's right. I was this whole time, Dan. I've been like,
I've never
was
heard
it
of this.
Simple Plan? Was it Linkin Park? Who
Bowling
was
for
it?
Soup.
Which one of those early 2000s bands was it?
And yes, it was the Simple Plan theme song,
How
and
dare you say a Simple Plan on this show? How dare
and
you.
now that I'm looking at the images from both series, I've definitely seen both of these. I don't really recognize the animation on any of the others.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of things. Like this show does have some great call. Like I said, the Casey Kasem thing. There is a picture of the original Shaggy real quick in this last episode that was out. There's people dressed up like Captain Caveman, but they never address that either. So there's all these things that I know this, I know this, I know this. So yeah, I guess it hits nostalgia things in my head that just makes it pop. Ooh, look at that! Ooh, look at that! Yeah, and then and then it has Velma as a sexually confused teenager who has nightmares come to life, kind of thing.
Is that what this show's about?
There's a lot. There's a lot
I
to the
mean-
show. Yeah, she's in love with Fred and Daphne. Yeah, there's a.
Well, that's always been true.
Yeah.
And then-
Fred had to go to prison to learn how to be a feminist. So yeah, it's
He had
great.
to go to
That's-
prison
That's not at all how it
to
happens.
learn how to be
She-
a. I don't
Velma
want
gives
any.
him a book that makes him a feminist.
I don't want any
to
clarification on
prison
what that
first.
means. Like,
Velma
No,
gives
Daniel,
Fred
Daniel.
a copy of the feminist
I told you, Daniel.
Mystique.
Daniel, I told you I don't want. I talked over it, and I don't want any more information. Then in this universe, the rules are to learn feminism, you have to go to prison.
To be fair, that is how all of the prisoners got therapy.
Oh my god. I was really hoping you guys could convince me to watch this show.
Okay, but what if I told you Shaggy was their therapist?
I don't. You know what? I don't want to. This isn't a
He
political
puts on a
thing.
magic cardigan.
A magic cardigan.
Yeah, when you put on the cardigan, people think you're unthreatening.
So it's like
so
Britta
they just
with-
spill their secrets to you. with
It's
the
like Britta
mustard.
with the mustard. Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes people spill secrets.
That's dumb. I didn't like it in
It's-
Community,
it's
and I
very
don't like
dumb.
it now.
It's great.
No, and also, this isn't a political thing, but like Matthew Lillard is still alive and able to do the Shaggy voice. And I know they changed like some parts of the characteristic, but like that's my Shaggy. That'll always be my Shaggy.
Honestly, I only think this show could have been better with their voices. Like if, and to be fair, their voices are their voices to me and not necessarily to everyone else. But I would actually love it to be Matthew Lillard and co. just doing the voices of
Well-
these. And again, I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. Like, it's an irreverent take on the characters, but it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
And
they say
so,
it right at the very beginning. Like,
I would
this is
only
going to
love
be
it
different.
more if it was their voices coming out of the mouths too.
Yeah.
So is that it for Cartoon
However,
Corner? That's
I
it for
think
yes.
so.
Cartoon Corner.
We're already running long, so what do we want to talk about next?
Dave's favorite show, Velma. We're gonna talk about a little more. Okay, we're not. Okay, that's it for
No,
Cartoon.
let's talk about some zombies.
Oh, good. Oh, and a show to have. Okay, I know Daniel is lagging, but Dave, have you watched
Uh,
all episodes?
yeah, I have played the first game, and and I am caught up watching Last of Us.
Right.
My wife is a massive Last of Us fan,
Good.
so she's the one sitting. I played the game and I enjoyed it, but she's the one sitting on the couch doing the Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I played the game. Of course, loved it. That was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So
Something like that.
I remember parts. I remember
Mhm.
things and stuff like that. Like, of course, I remember, like we were like the first episode or whatever. I knew that the stuff with his daughter, there was much more to it than there was in the game.
Yeah.
I think they earned her death quite well. It was great.
Mhm.
That whole episode, great, fine, fantastic. The second episode with Tess, I knew Tess wasn't going to be around long because I played the game. So it's like, how is she? Is she going to go out kind of the same way? Sort of does. We'll finally see a clicker. Fantastic. I was very excited about that. It's like, I know those bastards. Great.
I loved the clicker. I like love the design of the clicker. I love the small changes that have already happened from game to adaptation. I think Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey, for me, she didn't like, or sorry, they didn't become Bella Ramsey. Has recently stated that she prefers they them pronouns. So Bella Ramsey to me didn't click as Ellie until this episode, where just the little bit where Ellie's in the car talking about like, oh, look at this tape. Wow, it's like we're at a spaceship and stuff. And I'm like, that's okay. That's exactly Ellie. I love it so much.
See, and that's a like I thought this is the way Ellie should be. Like if I like when I think of Ellie and stuff like that. Like I remember she just knew how to do things like drive a car and stuff like that. Like she already knew how to do those things. And like why would she ever have known, especially in this universe? So I think what they did with this was perfect. It's like she has no idea. And like you're talking when they see the downed plane and stuff like that in that speech or whatever.
The talking about
Like,
how cool it was. You got to go up in one of those, and Joel's response, "Yes, so did they." And it's like, oh yeah, that's terrible.
$12 sandwich.
I really do, and we don't need to get into spoilers and stuff, obviously, because for the most recent episode. But I thought the best episode of the season so far, easily.
I think you can easily say it's one of the best episodes of television in a long time. It's
Like,
like just how much it moved people, and just such a simple story, and nowhere near, at least from my experience, the game. Nowhere
no, like none of this
I
was
just
like
lost the game.
none of
near.
this was
You played the game,
yeah.
yeah.
None of this
It's a little different.
was none of this was in the game, and the story is very for this specific episode very different. Me and my wife were having a conversation about it before. She was very upset because the character that they focus on in this episode is one of her favorite parts of the game, and it's huge departure.
Huge.
Huge.
At least to me, it was huge.
Yeah, but I thought
The goal being the same. The goal being the same.
goal being the same. Yes.
You needed a battery to work for it.
Yeah, but I love it, and just Mike Kalinowski tweeted about this today. Just Nick Offerman's not only never won, but never been nominated for an Emmy. Let's give this one to him.
Well,
right?
yeah, it's going to change, especially since they have a guest starring role thing or whatever.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
You win an Emmy for that, so yeah, they win. But they'll be fighting each other for it because they were both terrific.
Oh, they were both so good.
Yeah, convincing. It was like they had what 45 minutes, 50 minutes to tell that story, and
Yeah.
it's gonna last. It's gonna leave such an impression uh, on television. And like, guys, there's just such an easy way to do this.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's
just tell an honest, good story, and everyone's
yeah.
gonna love it.
Yeah, I think it's really fantastic, and the way that they really show through this one episode, they kind of showed the way the world gets worse and worse as time progresses, just in subtle ways. I think really also is some great storytelling. And then every time it like fades to black and then comes back with a time jump forward. I kept thinking the episode was over, and I was like, "Oh no, I want to spend more time here." And then they spent the exact perfect amount of time.
Yeah, they let you
really
they
love
let
this
you live
episode.
through this. They let you live through it. Um, there is going to be 100 different shows, 1,000 different shows, just going over how well this thing was done.
Yeah,
And it was, and poor Daniel's never seen it. Because
Honestly, like,
poor Daniel lives in 2008.
ooh,
He lives
more like
Like-
2000 late.
Come on, Dave.
what you're
Doesn't he suffer
describing
enough?
like makes me want to watch it like that much more because
Honest,
I thought
yeah.
even the first episode was like one of the best episodes of television and like one of my favorite zombie movies. Just that first episode, like
I'm trying to think if there's even a zombie in this episode.
There is. Before we get into all this stuff with Nick Offerman's character, there's that scene with Joel and Ellie right at the beginning.
Oh, okay, right. And and it's important. Like they do hold true to so many things about the character. Like he has the gas mask for a bit. He's traps. The traps are all out on the perimeter though. There didn't seem to be many in town.
Well,
But
yeah,
we didn't go exploring as much. But here's the thing I love about this show. They do things like open up drawers, and they
Yeah.
get things like guns. They get things like notes. It's like, God damn it, that's the fucking game.
maybe
This is how you do it.
this show is really adaptation at its finest, where it's a
So
story
smart.
we're already familiar with, and they're not changing. They're not changing a lot of stuff from the show. They're changing the micro things, but keeping like the overall goal intact. But this is adaptation at its finest, where it also feels like a video game in some places. Like Daniel, you've only seen the first episode, you said.
yeah.
In episode 2, this used to happen. This happens all the time in the Last of Us game. They enter a room, and then right as they enter a room, the roof in the room behind them collapses, so they can't go back. They can't backtrack. And they're like,
These guys
"Oh
have got
man,
it. They've got it.
Um,
Like they just understand. It's like I don't know if they were like thinking like video games. Like everyone shits on video game adaptations of things. It's like, guys, we got the story. We know what people like about it. Just put it in.
And
Put this in, and then just concentrate on characters.
And I think the creator of the game being so involved as well is a great is always, well, that's not necessarily true. It almost always helps to have the creator involved in the show, not as like the sole director or the person with overall say, because that's
Yeah.
how you get David Yates directing the last 4 Harry Potter movies, and they just get
Yeah,
worse and worse and worse.
I was gonna say until people start
Yeah.
yelling that he's spending
Ooh.
too much time on the TV series and not writing The Last of Us 3.
Well, they straight up came out and were like, we're probably not going to do Last of Us 3 unless we really unless we have a really great idea.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
didn't like Last of Us 2 all that much.
I think the reason it's good to have this, and this happened with Neil Gaiman in Sandman. I think it helps keep the tone of the thing people loved, but they get to make changes, and there are things like George R. R. Martin being like, yeah, this is the way Patty Constantine did Viserys is how I wanted to do it. I just, at the time I was writing it, I didn't know how to make that possible. And I think that's similar to Neil Druckmann has come out a couple times and been like, yeah, there will be changes. And honestly, it's stuff that if we weren't confined by it being a video game, as cinematic as we are, it is still a game. This is how we would have told the story.
Also, just to actually you back.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
Neil Gaiman with literally every Neil Gaiman property. He will essentially pay you to be a producer or just to hang out on set.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was just using Neil Gaiman because I was trying to think of someone. I could only think of bad examples at first, and then I was like, Neil Gaiman, though. He's not only, like, totally cool with changing things, he's like, yeah, no, this is better.
Yeah, like, he will hang out on set and let you destroy his masterpiece or make it better or whatever you want. Just let me hang out.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman's a weird dude.
He is. But yeah, back to The Last of Us. Like, I really, really am enjoying this show. And I found out recently that originally, I think after episode 1, we talked about, like, how far do we think we're going to go. Apparently, season 1 is all of Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, really?
And like, the DLC from that game.
Wow. Well, I heard about they're doing an episode of the DLC. I heard that.
There's a pretty obvious point where I think that episode will probably episode like 7 or 8. There's like a major thing that happens in the game, where something I don't want to get into it, but I think is a pretty natural spot for that to take place. So I think we'll get one full episode of the DLC and then come right back.
Yeah. God damn! I wish they would only do half. Like they just showed. Like they took 10 minutes or so of the game, 15 minutes of the game, made it an hour and 10 minutes, and made maybe the best episode of television you'll see this year.
It's only January, so
yeah. But I was saying, like I said, my favorite show that I watched all last year was at the beginning of February.
That's true.
It was the best show.
I agree with you. But I do like that them having to.
If there's shows that are better, then we're in a good fucking year. Because,
for sure.
Yeah, I hope there's shows that are better. I hope there's episodes that are better. I hope there's tons of episodes better. Could you imagine how good that would be?
Yeah, and honestly,
to
bring it back to this episode, I think it's very brave of them to say we have 10 episodes for season 1 and we're doing the whole first game. And this episode was like an hour, 15 minutes, I think. It's like, we're going to take 50 minutes of the show, and it's going to be about something that is from one line of dialogue from the game, essentially.
Yep.
It's like, not really progressing the story forward that much farther, but, you know, we want to do this because we think it's an important story to tell them we're telling it.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, they're going to do the entire first season.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, they'll do the entire second game.
Well,
right?
they've talked. Sorry.
What if they want to do a season 3? Are you afraid of Game of Throning it?
They have stated that the show will never go farther than the games are. And also, they on the red carpet for Last of Us, one of the guy who did Chernobyl,
right?
Was asked very straight up, how far are you into like writing Last of Us Part 2? Blah 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 blah, and he talked about Last of Us Part 2 is a much denser game with a lot more moving parts than it's not as clean of a story as Last of Us Part 1 is. So if we did that would probably be 2 seasons.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was before they knew they were greenlit.
Down a lot more. They're gonna have to break it down a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for the second game and stuff like that, just it wouldn't work.
I also do love, by the way, all the memes going around where it's a pretty well-known thing that the reason Book of Boba Fett existed is because so that Pedro Pascal could go do Last of Us, but then there were 2 episodes featuring Pedro Pascal in Book of Boba Fett, and they're like, well, obviously there has to be an episode where he's not in it a lot, so that he could go back and go do Book of Boba Fett.
He's in it a
I
little bit. He's in it a bit.
I also have a question.
Yes, sir.
How much time takes place between the first and second game?
Months?
I think it's years.
Is it years?
One
So
second.
it'll give Bella a chance to grow up a little bit more.
Well, Bella's 19 already.
And
Really?
well, what I was gonna say is, well, there's your season 2 if you want to delay the second game storyline, and that's your area where you can be the television show.
Honestly, I think because HBO's kind of running on this like prestige budget, like Last of Us, just looking at the clickers in episode 2, I was like, that costs as much as a dragon, I bet.
Oh, you think so?
Like that's because it's a lot of prosthetics mixed with CGI, and I'm like, that's got to be an expensive thing to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if we know we're not getting House of the Dragon season 2 until 2024 probably. I wouldn't be surprised if we go like Last of Us, then we get a season of House of the Dragon, then we get a season of Last of Us, House of the Dragon, Last of Us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it helps when you're on the same network.
And then once both of these shows wrap up, right in time for all the DC shows to start coming out.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
other
wait, I forgot
27
that
and the other 27 Game of Thrones shows.
Yes.
5 years. It's 5 years, by the way.
He has 5 years, so because I think Ellie's like 20 in the second game. And she's only
She'll
supposed to
look
be
the exact
15.
same. She'll look the exact same in this one if she's already 19 years old, which is bananas. Or sorry, if they're already 19 years old,
Yeah.
which is bananas.
I know.
Bananas.
So
Bananas.
it does look like a lot of fun, and once I have some time, I will definitely be watching the next episodes.
The second one is a lot of fun. I think the third one is probably more important than fun. I wouldn't consider this one a rip roaring good time.
I wouldn't call it a rip roaring good time, but I will say this was probably the funniest episode of Last of Us so
Yeah, it's
far.
very good. Yeah.
Especially there's a montage near the beginning that is a lot
See,
of
I
fun.
wouldn't call the first episode rip roaring fun or funny. So
How dare you?
See, it's one of those things where I think it's the best episode, but it's also in some ways the most fun, but in other ways the most heartbreaking.
Well, certainly, yeah. Considering it's Bill, Bill that they did this for. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
What? Who talks like that?
also, like, I don't fully know what you're talking about because I have not played the game, so I don't even know the 2-minute conversation that you guys are referencing either.
There's a little more.
Yeah.
In my mind, he just joined Squid Game. That's, from
Okay,
your
fine.
clues, I've inferred he just joined Squid Game.
Yeah, you're
It's really good, and I honestly think Last of Us, it'll be really fun. I have some friends who aren't even aware of it right now, and I'm gonna be this will be an episode that I think will very much turn people on to Last of Us. I think it comes in at that. Rob, you often talk about like giving a show the 3-episode test,
Yep.
essentially, and the fact that this episode will come in at the end of the 3 episodes, I think is so fantastic.
I think the fact that it is the 3rd episode really blew my mind. It's like they might it's like, guys, they've been listening in and saying, what would Snark do? Well, you have 3 episodes to really wow them, and they just fucking mic drop.
And to be
Take that,
fair,
motherfucker.
I think they wowed us every episode so far.
Yeah. But yeah, oh yeah. As soon as I knew I was gonna love it. I knew I was gonna love the show because I love the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the clickers and stuff like that in the second episode. You get so excited. It's like, yes, here we go.
Yeah.
And then they did this. It's incredible.
This
They didn't even have that fat one in the garage. Or
Do you think they're
whatever.
gonna have the fat one in the garage?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think they already have. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
And it just threw spores at you, and they're not doing spores on the thing.
I love all the memes of. So they're not doing in the game like there's spores in some areas where you have to put on a gas mask and
Yeah.
stuff. And in the show, because for science reasons, they're like, that's not how spores work. They aren't just contained to one area. Like you would have to wear a gas mask all the time. So just none of that. But the real reason is Pedro Pascal, so dreamy. We can't have this man in a gas mask all the
Yeah.
time.
How would you
But then
keep him in a
immediately
mask?
it's like,
What
but Nick
sort
Offerman.
of fool would put Pedro Pascal in a mask the whole time?
You haven't even seen Mandalorian, Dan.
Yeah, how dare
No,
you?
but it's literally what everyone said about the show before it came
Yeah.
out. It was just like, you're wasting Pedro.
But it's like, but Nick Offerman, he can wear a mask. That's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's got long hair
Yeah.
now. He's fine.
Yeah. I hated his haircut, but by the end of the episode, I loved it.
Nitpicker.
All right, we're approaching the length of the Last of Us episode, so shall we drop some plugs and head on out?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll
I know
catch
Dave
up on
has
that
things to
90s
plug.
show next week. So everyone's been waiting with bated breath about that 90s
Bated
show.
breath. Yeah, you can find me at Leaves Me Alone on Twitter, but that's a terrible follow. Instead of that, head on over to Multiverse of Geekdom, where every week I join Jedi Master Talk, and we talk about Lost on the Geekdom Initiative. We talk Lost, great, one of our favorite shows. And go support that channel as well. Part of the Benverse, the collaboration of channels that are all working together right now. So catch me there every Monday, 8:00 Eastern, talking Lost. We're getting into next week. We're going to be getting into some character deaths. So,
Oh boy.
ooh, boom.
Are you doing like best character death, or are you doing like most
Well, no.
heartbreaking?
We're doing episode by episode rewatch of the show, and then this is the next week we get into the episode where the first major character in the show dies.
Ah, okay.
Where, behind the scenes information that I'll be getting into. He found out that his character was going to be killed off the same day that he closed on his home in Hawaii.
Is that where they filmed the show?
They filmed Lost in Hawaii, yeah. And
Yeah.
he bought a house,
So he just bought a house, so he'd be right next to work.
and then same day, they came up to him. They were like, "Hey, we're killing your character." He's like, "Ah, I guess I
That's
gotta
my
go
house."
do Vampire Diaries now."
Oh boy. Spoiler
Just
alert for that.
immediately start asking the rest of the cast, just be like, "Hey, you want a sublet? You need a house? Do you need a house? I know you're new to the show. Do you need a house?"
Sell it to the Hobbit. Unless he's the guy who dies. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never heard of this show before, ever.
Never heard of this. Oh, God damn it, Rob.
I heard of Buffy. And I've heard of The Last Airbender, but I've never heard of Lost. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and find your little indie show Lost and maybe watch an episode or two.
It's on Disney Plus.
How dare
Yeah,
you. Spoiler.
but the
Plugs for
problem
Disney
is, so is Buffy.
Oh, yeah, Buffy, I know.
Yeah, but that's a bad show.
It definitely is a bad show to
dare
watch
you.
on Disney Plus. I will give you, it's a bad show to watch on Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the
Right,
widescreen
they do-
remasters.
Oh, they did
Oh.
that. Jack, gross. They cut crap. Nope. No,
And
thank
yeah,
I'll
they
just watch
did
my-
it so bad. Yes, I am trying to reassemble a set. I used to own the whole series and then I lost it, and I'm trying to put together a set of all the old DVDs. I think I have 3 of the 7, so we'll get there. Yes, yes.
Ha ha ha.
Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And the others. So
yes, yes, yes.
I just wanted to
I know
bookmark
those.
'em.
I know those exact flip books.
There. All right, how about me? Okay, so you can see me here on Have You Seen This every goddamn Tuesday with our corporal now friend Dave and Daniel, the guy who never sees anything. And we're going to talk about TV shows, whether you've seen them or not, and also cartoon shows, which I have not seen. So it all equals out. Also, you can catch me Tuesdays as well, earlier, because I tape it before on the Let's Get Ready Network, the highlights, talking English football on the starting 11. Guys, transfer window closed today. What a day for Chelsea Football Club. Fantastic news, because our season has been shit and I cried myself to sleep every goddamn week. But you can catch me there, and I once in a while show up talking Doctor Who with our buddy Fitty on his show, the greatest show in the galaxy. I was on a show a couple weeks ago. It's probably excellent. I haven't seen it, but it's probably the best one. Anyways, that's it for me.
All right, and you can also find me on Twitter, but like Dave, terrible follow. I mostly just yell about when Hearthstone isn't working, so that's...
Take pictures of things that are happening on your leg and say, should I go to the doctor for this?
No,
Always. Yes, you have free health care.
Honestly, you should go to the doctor, and then you should go to the front desk and just sign in, because it's going to take you less time than the ER.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just get an appointment for 3 days from now, and it'll take you less time than the ER.
Plan ahead. Plan ahead for your
Exactly.
infectious disease.
Plan ahead for your infectious disease. Great advice to leave
That's
us
what
on.
the posters. I got it from a poster somewhere.
From The Last of Us? It was from... Oh my god, the first scene of The Last of Us is so great. That freaking conference, I immediately, I was just like, okay, I know what I'm getting into. This science guy has done all the sciencing for me.
Dan, you've only seen the first episode, you said, right? So
yeah.
the second episode starts with a similar thing, which I think is better than the first one.
Ooh. And then also, a little bit of sad news, also pertaining to The Last of Us, is that since the series, this is a thing that I saw on Twitter, since the series takes place in 2003, the apocalypse happens before the world gets to see Shrek 2.
Oh my god.
I know. Just that whole world is deprived.
They never
Shrek
got
2.
the DVD with the best DVD extra on it.
And, like, possibly the greatest version of I Need a Hero ever sung.
I know. Oh my god.
Poor souls. And they have to deal with a zombie outbreak. Like,
wow.
Kick them while they're down.
Unbelievable.
And, you know, hate to leave you guys on sad news like that, but it was the only fact I know about The Last of Us at the moment. But we'll be back with more facts about The Last of Us. Maybe a little bit more about Velma. And if we get to it, I definitely watched all of that 90s show, so I can talk about it.
Yes.
Next week, that will be our plan. So we'll see you all.
Hanging out on the street.
We're literally just gonna be hanging out right here until then.
Same old thing.
Shooting the shit.
We did this
week. And same old thing we did this week. Indeed.
Not a thing to do.
But we'll be doing it next week. We'll be doing it the week after that, probably. I mean, our scheduling is bad, so don't quote me on that. But hey, it's always on a Tuesday.
We're all right. We're all right.
Okay, you can stop that now.
I thought you meant me to end the show. Sorry.
Oh, well, also, we should do that, but I must...